Hi there, welcome to No Nonsense Whiskey. My name's Vin PF and on today's episode we've got another Sample Saturday for you. On today's episode we're checking out 3 new releases from the GlenAllachie, and they are part of a new series detailing all different kinds of sherry cask influence on their spirits. It's part of a two-parter, so there's going to be 6 total whiskies in this at some point. This first 3, in my opinion, detail kind of the more drier side of sherry, so typically something that I'm not that into, so we'll see how we get on with these whiskies. But in typical kind of like Sample Saturday style, I've literally just poured these out in my glasses. I've had a sniff and I've had a quick taste just to make sure my palate is acclimatised to it, but really these are going to be first impressions, they're not reviews. We'll see what I think about each one and we'll go through what everything is and what's going on. Now, of course, I'm a big fan of GlenAllachie. You know, typically they tend to lean towards the kind of Oloroso and PX style of whiskey kind of finishing, which is, you know, that's their wheelhouse. So it's nice to see them kind of deviating out into kind of special releases. But we all know that Billy Walker knows what he's doing. We know what GlenAllachie is doing really well. So we imagine these are all going to be pretty good, right? They're all 48%. They're all 60 quid RRP, which is, you know, not cheap, but, you know, I have to say, again, that's the way of things. These are all kind of like 9-year-old age statements as well. So for special releases, I guess that's kind of the going rate these days. So yeah, no further to say about it really, apart from just to get into it and see what we got. Now on the table, we've got 3, as I said. We have here in fact, I've mixed these up, so that's a good start already. We have here a Fino sherry, which is apparently one of the driest. Again, I'm not really a sherry guy, so and that translates over into whiskey as well. So I don't know a hell of a lot about it, just what I read online. We've got a Fino, we've got an Amontillado, and we've got an Oloroso, which again should be more in their wheelhouse. So let's get into the first one then. First one then, we've got a Fino. Fairly light in character, fairly light in kind of colour and whatnot. As far as I'm aware, these are all non-chill filtered, natural coloured, but given, oh, it even says it on here, yeah. I was going to say, it might not say it on the labels here, but it does. No added colour, non-chill filtered, 48%. Lovely, jubbly. Let's get onto the nose then and see what we got. Okay, that's interesting because, I mean, I've only tried probably 2 or 3 Fino-influenced whiskies in my time. This one is almost giving me, it's almost like a white wine sort of nose to it, but like a really robust one. As I normally like to do, let's have a sip first before I go back to the nose. That's much sweeter than I was expecting it to be. Yeah, there it goes. Okay, let's try back on the nose again. Definitely some sort of sherry elements to it, but I have to say I am struggling to pick it apart as it is. That kind of almost kind of grapey white wininess is really sticking around for me. But it's not unpleasant. I don't mean that unpleasantly at all. It's quite a tidy little nose. It's odd though. It's odd in versus what I have tried in the past, in a good way. You know me, I like to try my whiskey exploration, so I like to try the atypical, and this is definitely that. Okay, let's go back for my second taste. Okay, it's definitely not white winey on the palate at all. Definitely some more sherry notes going on there. The drying element I'm definitely getting. As I mentioned earlier, it's quite sweet up front. That dips off quite quickly, I have to say, to kind of dry out and sour out on the back end, which is again something that I quite enjoy. A little nutty on the back end, but not too much at all. Tidy, it's a tidy drop. Yeah, I wasn't sure what to expect from that one, to be honest. So it's nice that it's quite well balanced, I think, which is nice. We like that. I am going to cleanse in between each one. Oh, nice bit of water. Okay, next one then. We've got an Amontillado cask. Again, 9 years old. Again, 48%, non-chill filtered, natural colour, all that stuff that we like. Again, I'm no pro with Amontillado, so you know, there you go. There's the, you know, it doesn't look too dissimilar to the other, a little bit darker. As far as I'm aware, Amontillado starts out as a Fino. For whatever reason, I mean, like I'm undercutting myself a little bit because I know that I know some of the production methods behind these things, but I'm not here today to tell you about those. That's the point I'm trying to make. Is that it's I'm here to talk about the whiskey, not this. One thing I have noticed is the viscosity of the Fino seemed a little bit higher than this, but it's points in it. Let's get onto the nose of this. Okay, that's getting much more where my head is, I think, with sherry. I'm going to go back and nose this while I'm doing this one. Yeah, it's much sweeter, much less nutty on the nose. I'm getting a lot more kind of typical kind of Scotchy notes. Those vanillas, those honeys. I have to say, actually, not what I expect from sherry influence again, but again, probably a good thing for me. You know me, I'm not that huge into my sherry, as I've said many times. Let's try on the palate. Okay, literally thinking on the fly. Now for me that accelerates everything from the first one a little bit more. It kind of amplifies it just a little bit more. So the sweetness is more pronounced. It feels a little bit more robust to me. The more kind of, again, the more typical Scotch flavours of honeys and vanillas are more pronounced. And again, same as the nose, those kind of sherry influence notes aren't as prevalent, which again is pretty good for me. I'm enjoying that. That's really nice. That's really lovely, actually. What I'm going to do is I'm going to cleanse again and do the last one, and then I'm going to come back through all three without cleansing and see what happens. Why not? For science. Now the last one, Oloroso Sherry Cask Finish, 9 years, 48%, blah blah blah. So this, in theory, should be a little bit more typical for GlenAllachie. You know, again, the colour of this is much deeper. If I show last versus this, you see it's a little bit more golden and beyond. Let's try the nose. Oh wow, okay. Now, again, Oloroso tends to be something a bit of an alarm bell for me usually. You know, having said that, GlenAllachie have never set me wrong with Oloroso, but I have been set wrong in the past with other Olorosos. So this has got a really juicy nose to it. Again, it's just getting more robust as it goes along. I put these out in the order that they show them on the kind of PR pictures. So I guess that, you know, that there's a reason for that. So I guess I followed that. But this has definitely got those sherry notes in there as well. Those kind of like raisins and sultanas. Juicy, they're very juicy rather than more dried. Palate. Big, bold. Lots of sherry influence on that. Some coffees and dark chocolates coming out of the back end of that as well. I wouldn't have called that as an Oloroso, to be honest. Wow, I mean, I'm really surprised about that, because that's, on first run, that's my favourite of them all, which I would not have called, but they became my favourites each one. So the first one was pretty good, second one became my favourite, and then this one became my favourite. Okay, so what I'm going to do now is just run through them all again and see what happens. It's not very professional, but that's no nonsense whiskey for you. So let's try. Yeah, it's definitely drier, and those kind of winey notes, I really can't escape that. But again, not in a bad way. It's yeah, I mean, it's really quite tidy. It's it's really very different. It's hard for me to describe it without you getting to try it really, but it really is very different to that Oloroso, and I guess that's the point of this, is that they're breaking from the norm and trying to try something different. So if you're a huge fan of GlenAllachie, which you probably are if you're watching this, then it's quite a good departure from their normal stuff, and yet still robust and good. Amontillado. Okay. Yeah. Again, even without the cleanse, it's just sort of like, you know, aggregating those flavours together and making them and enhancing them. So it's hard for me to describe. My personal opinion is that it's better than that, but it's different. That's the important part of it. I think that's going to be the important. If you could only pick one of them, you're probably going to pick the Oloroso, to be honest. But if you want to try something innovative and new, then try the different ones. Or you know what? Okay, so the Oloroso is still my favourite today. However, tasting them through like that, I can tell you that if my mood changed, the Amontillado would be my favourite. And it would be a coin flip on most days, I think, which one I would go for. Both of them would be attacked. They wouldn't last very long on my shelf, I don't think. But yeah, anyway, to sum up, really, really good range. Really interesting to see them do new things and try different flavour profiles. I think a lot of people are going to be interested in this. They're still available now, so if you are interested, go and check out the links in the description below. Pick one up and let me know if you've tried these. I'm sure a lot of you probably bought them already, so if you have, let me know in the comments below what you think of these things. Let me know if you're jumping on them or if you're going to wait until the next set, which I have no information about right now, but if these three are anything to go by, we're probably going to be hitting some more juicy sherry, sweeter sherries, maybe, which I'm here for. So, you know, if they deem to send me those samples, I'll gladly cover them as well, of course. But yeah, let me know in the comments below what you think about these GlenAllachies. I think they're a bit of a winner for me. I'm going to go through all these again and see what I think off screen. Cheers. Hi there. Welcome to No Nonsense Whiskey. My name's PF, and on today's episode we've got another Sample Saturday for you. And on today's Sample Saturday we're checking out a couple of